Hi, y'all. Welcome back to America Tells All. I am so excited to be back for the Men Tell All episode. Hello. And I'm here uh, in the hot seat is Survivor star, Twitter icon, Brandon Donlon. Whoa!
What's up? Listen, a remarkably bad week for America here. Just is a whole, a different kind of America. I'm trying to re-love America again, which is why I'm back here with America to talk about what people are saying is the best season of the show ever. I think it's the first one. I think it's the inaugural, but it's pretty
I
good.
hate you. I hate you. You're so annoying. But I hear that you are a big Bachelor fan. You are actually a Bachelor expert, right?
I I have seen about 16 episodes in total over 10 years of The Bachelor. I watched Nick Vile. I watched Colton. I watched Listen to Your Heart, that 6-episode thing they did during peak COVID. When I was
Yes.
sheltering in place, that's what that's what we were all watching. I was either watching that or the news. And the news was better somehow. It's crazy. That shit was bad. The news was remarkably better. But I came in today because I'm curious, men haven't done anything bad this week. So let's just hear all the men and what they have to say. Listen to the men tell all. So I watched this episode. I took copious notes. And I'm so excited to talk about what's going on with the boys. This is the gripe America that I have with the show. Or not gripe. You should just, if you're an older guy, you should just go do this show. Like, they're all just so excited they met other guys. Just go have a boys trip. You know what I mean? It's so much easier. I don't have a lot of close male friends. I'm in a very happy relationship. 20, 30 years from now, God forbid I'm not. I'm going on fucking the boys trip. I don't even need to meet Joan. Fuck Joan. I just want to go hang out with the guys.
Yeah. If I got anything from this episode is that these guys are so lonely. Like, all they talked about for the entire hour and a half was like, I found my brothers, like, we have a bromance going on. I was like, oh my God, they really have no friends outside of this. I'm sure it's tough to maintain friends. No, like, straight up, because I'm like, they're writing sticky notes to each other, like,
Yeah.
being all, lovey-dovey the entire episode. I need a fight, and it's too late in the season they couldn't fabricate a fight for me. Like, it's been so boring, Brandon. Like, you have no idea. I've just been like wanting one of them to tell each other off. I'm like, even the snoring segment, I'm like, okay, maybe we're gonna have somebody finally break their silence and say, like, the snoring was super fucking annoying, like, Jack, fuck you. But instead we got another goofy, fun, silly snoring segment. Oh, they're so old, hee hee ha ha moment.
They build up to a fight. Jesse Palmer, who I didn't know until this. What a fucking charismatic host. My God.
You don't know him? He does the
No.
Holiday Baking Championship on the Food Network.
I've seen that. He's quite unremarkable.
And I think he's on the avocado ads as well.
Avocado ads? He's advertising for the fruit?
I swear it's avocados or blueberries or something, but I heard his voice on a commercial the other day, and it was some sort of like fruit vegetable.
Who pays for that? If avocados, do they have a marketing team just avocados?
Avocados from Mexico. I know you've heard that. Brendan, no,
I'm so white. America's listeners, I'm the whitest person in the world. I don't need avocado. It's too spicy. However, Jesse Palmer builds up to these, like, there was one fight, there was one moment that we all remember, and it's Burger Gate. And I'm like, okay, maybe this will be something. And they show clips of it, but I thought maybe there was more. And there's not more. It's two guys. Like, I don't like putting barbecue sauce on burgers. And the other guy's like, well, I do. And they hug. It's like a learning. It's like Full House. What are we doing here? Fucking fight. Throw somebody mad in there.
Yeah, Burger Gate. Let's talk about it. Do you put barbecue sauce on your patty?
It's disgusting. You don't put any like liquid. I guess, yeah, barbecue sauce.
It's a condiment. Yeah, like, I'm not putting mayo on it while I'm grilling it.
It's crazy. It's worth yelling at somebody about. I forget. I wrote them down. Jack, no barbecue. Christopher, barbecue is what I wrote.
Yes, correct.
God forbid. I would have eliminated it. I think if Joan would have heard that, get a load of that, Joan. I'd send Christopher home in 2 seconds. It didn't seem like Christopher was there super long. But
no,
it's, if you're making a burger, and guy, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm a guy who likes to grill. I'm a grill guy. You do salt, you do pepper. I think Jack said this. a little bit of even garlic powder is adventurous. A little garlic powder is a little too much. You do salt and pepper, and that's it. You can barbecue sauce afterward. And even America, buckle in. Who the fuck's putting barbecue sauce even on a done burger? Like it's ketchup and mayonnaise. In New York, you lived in New York, America. You were
I
in
lived in
Brooklyn,
New York.
you know?
Yes, I was a Bushwick girly.
We're all doing ketchup and mayonnaise. That's what you put on a burger. You don't put you can put one of the two. You can put the two. You don't put anything else. Especially barbecue sauce. It's fucking gross. I get a lot of. Sometimes you'll get a burger at a restaurant and it'll have like bacon. It's like the guy's burger, the cowboy burger, and it's got bacon and onion ring,
the fried onions,
the fried onion, and they have barbecue sauce on that sometimes. And I'm like, hey, take it off. I don't want it. Put it on the side. I'll dip a fry in it. Sure, I don't want it on a burger. That's why I should have been on the Golden. I would have showed Christopher who's boss.
You should have. I wanted this to escalate. And I know Jack could have escalated it. But again, Jack was our guy. I was rooting for Jack. He was the one that was spending too much time at the pool, too much time, cooking, not enough time with Joan. And we heard whispers at the beginning of the guys being like, oh, that's Jack doing another cannonball into the pool. Like, how dare he? And then I guess production was like, nah, that's not a storyline we want to run with. Like, cut that shit out. He was eliminated that episode. So we didn't see much of him. But
did you watch I Think You Should Leave? Have you seen I Think You Should Leave, the sketch show?
Yes. Yeah. So I've seen that. Yeah. That one
it's giving
episode.
The zip line. It's giving that he's only here for the zip line.
He was only there for the zip line. And I was loving it. I'm like, realistically, they're not all going to connect with Joan. They're not, all going to fall in love with Joan. It's fine if they just want to cook and have fun and enjoy the pool and the tub. I'm okay with that. And I thought it was, apparently Jack, I don't know how many people were in that crowd, in the audience. It seemed like a lot. And apparently I hope he got paid, Jack, because they had to make burgers for every single person.
Everybody. They said, bring him on in. Oh, yeah. Here she was. They brought her out.
And then Oprah came out and she was like, you get a burger. You get a burger. Everyone.
She was throwing him at a certain point. She hit Kelsey's brother. She hit Mark's son. She hit him square in the face. Crazy.
Joan's mom was there. Like, also, Joan's mom was super sick during filming. Like, it's like a thing during the show. And I'm like, they have her here. They flew her out and she's eating a burger. I hope it doesn't have barbecue sauce on it. I don't know if
what was she sick with? Do we know what she was sick with?
We don't know, but she was like really sick.
She is old. She's an older woman. That's, you don't feel comfortable saying a lot of people are old. She is an old woman. Maybe a plane. I wouldn't have suggested a plane. A plane seems like a bad move, but all right. Hell yeah, Joan's mom.
Yeah, get her on the Golden Bachelorette.
I was gonna say, throw her in here. Throw her in here. Not a lot of shows.
More drama.
What's that?
Maybe she'll give us more drama.
Yeah, get a couple 90-year-old guys in this thing. He's gonna be only there for the cannonballs. Lots of medical evacuations in the season with the 90+ people, I think.
Yeah, I think so. We didn't have enough this season. We didn't have any this season.
No.
Medivacs? No.
What I vividly remember from my time watching The Bachelor, Hell's Kitchen does this too. Survivor's only seldom done this, but like they'll show in the master preview for the season, they'll show like an ambulance going by. It's like the last frame of the preview. And then all season you're like, who's getting taken away? And then it's like somebody cut their finger. It's like, it's nothing. It never is anything. The MTV Challenge, I think, does this as well.
Yeah, they do. They did this with The Bachelor one time. I think it was Paradise, where they're like, somebody goes to the hospital and they're playing it up as if they get into a fight. And it's a guy that fell off his bunk bed in the middle of the night. That's what it ended up being.
He rolled off?
He rolled off the bed and like hit his head, which is like actually super crazy because how do you do that? But
is that an ick, America? If you heard that about somebody and you were dating and they fell off a bunk bed, is that ick worthy?
Is it ick? No. You know what's an ick that I discovered of mine very recently? So me and Corey are playing Mario Party Jamboree. It's like a new Mario game. And when you have to like mash the button?
I'm familiar. Yeah, I'm familiar. Of course.
I don't play Mario Party much. I usually just stick to Mario Kart. But I forgot that was a thing. And so I start playing with Corey and like, it's like, oh, Boo's going to get you. He's going to come and get your coins. You better mash that A button. And he starts doing it. And it's like the cringiest. I'm thinking about it right now and I'm like getting sweaty about it because it's so embarrassing. I was so I was like, I can't watch this. So yeah, that's an
you
ick.
gotta
Do
just
you have
look.
any?
You gotta look away.
I had to every single time. We've played a few times since, and yeah, just gotta look away. And I'll just hear it, and it's so loud because he'll be there like, and it's the word.
You gotta mash in the other room, Corey. If you're listening, Corey, mash in the bathroom if you gotta mash. You know,
It like
you can
starts like vibrating and
yeah.
the hand motions. It's just like so off-putting. I hate it. Do you have any icks, Brandon?
The only ick that when I heard the definition of ick, like I was like, okay, this happened
That's
to me
right.
vividly.
It's not a guy thing. Yeah.
The only time that I can even remember happening, there's like a Punnett square in terms of like singing in the car. Is if you are a good singer, you should sing in the car, right? If you're a bad singer and you're so overwhelmingly bad, sing in the car, right? If you think you're bad and then you sing and you're good, then you should also sing in the car. But if you're bad, but you don't know that you're bad, and then you sing in the car confidently. I remember, I don't want to say who it is. She won't listen to this. But like, it was somebody I was hanging out with in the summer of 2014. She was singing Riptide. You all know Rip. You're listening to a podcast. You know,
I was alive in 2014. I know Riptide.
You had a ukulele, America. You give that you bought a ukulele at one point and you were trying to play Riptide. But this person was singing Riptide and thought they were very good. They were not. And I viscerally remember gripping my 2007 Honda CRV steering wheel. And I'm like, oh my God. Like it's, you can't, if you have to like vet yourself, record yourself into an app and just see if you can kind of track with whatever and then sing. But if you're overwhelmingly bad, then that's funny. Then you should sing.
That's fine.
But it's the false confidence. And I believe everybody should be, everybody should be confident.
Maybe speak your truth. It's fine.
Less this is maybe the gray area.
It's like when you go to karaoke and it's like they think that they're good. And then they're like taking it seriously. I love karaoke because it's like hee hee ha ha, like this is fun and dumb, but
I can sing Lips of an Angel by Hinder very loudly and the crowd's fine with it because I can't sing. But if you go up there and you're like, I'm gonna do Lips of, and you're serious, you're like, oh God. No, that's not good.
Oh no. Corey,
do they ever do a karaoke date? Is that ever anything? Do they ever do? I guess they'd have to copyright the music, but is that ever a date day on The Bachelor?
They have the money for it. They had like Lady Gaga music on. They had, I can't remember any of the other music that they had, but they had the budget for it. And they were like promoting Quaker Oats and shit. So they had sponsors, like legit sponsors to help them get that money. But I don't think they've done karaoke for that reason. I've never done karaoke with Corey. We are going on the BB cruise, and I hear there's going to be karaoke. So it'll be fun. Me, Corey, Cowboy from season 5.
Sure.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. When I draft my karaoke team in my head, it is you three. So that's fantastic to hear. I was hoping to get a job with Carnival by then, so I can be on the cruise, but unaffiliated with the cruise and not paying for the cruise. I'll be craft services, in the morning giving, Cowboy a pancake when he's hungover. I guess that's probably 2 p.m. Cowboy's not waking up early, I don't think, for the cruise.
I wouldn't think so. I don't remember I didn't watch the live feeds season 5, so I'm not sure.
Some other stuff with Cowboy, but
there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. A lot of people that I don't know are coming. I find out when everyone else does, when there's an announcement made. I'm like, oh,
fun. You'd think they'd vet, if you're the cruise organizers, you're doing a great thing for a lot of people. But you'd think
hey, Mike, thanks for watching.
I didn't get an invite to the Survivor cruise, but that's okay. I know other people got emails. But I do think that what's interesting about the cruise is like, people have beef. If you see somebody pop up that they're going on the cruise, not you, America, but other people got beef, it seems like maybe Mike, send an email, send it, it's just like, hey, just so you know, this person's coming. You have 24 hours, speak your piece. We can pull back if we have to. But listen, they don't let me run the cruises, famously,
why not? I shouldn't. Shocker. Yeah, why not?
I'd be much better at staying on the boat than jumping off of it, which is a piece of trauma from my life that we're not here to talk about on the America Men Tell All episode. But anyway, this was a great episode. Shout out to Quaker Oats. Why are they sponsoring? Why that?
Because they're old and all they eat is oatmeal. Hello.
Oh, this was on the old people show. That makes so much more sense. I thought this was on the young people.
They had them playing kickball, and then on the sidelines, they'd be eating Quaker Oats.
Oh, I love that. For not for anything, the clip montage of this show, like every time they show clips, really made me emotion. Like these guys just love each other. It's so
Did
nice.
it? I felt nothing. I was there. Like, I don't know if you know the Woody meme where he's just like in front of the TV, blankly like staring. That was me the entire time. I was like, I've seen this over and over and over. We had, like I said, the snoring segment, and this is Pascal, and he's like, oh, the wall was vibrating, the beds were vibrating, everything was shaking. We go over like the Chippendales date where they're stripping, and I'm like, I've seen this before. I don't need to see it again. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, you got like a full recap of what the season has been.
I feel like I saw the whole thing. Jenna Johnson was there, famed Dancing with the Stars professional dancer at the Chippendales, which was lovely. Love to see her. I mean, when the men came out, I was writing down men that I thought were remarkable. I didn't realize that the men who were at the final two, it seems like, aren't here. Like I don't know who the final two of the show is. Yeah.
I guess they don't trust them because they're like, you might give it away. You might come up and be a little too giggly, a little too smiley.
Right. I didn't put. So when did this film? Like when did this filmed recently? I assume the reunion. But when did they end filming? Like how long have Joan and potential
so it
person
started?
been together?
Yeah, the season started in June, I believe, or like mid-June is when they started filming, and it takes place over 6 weeks. So probably like July, late July is when they finished. So it's only been like 2-3 months max.
Wow. How fun. Yeah, I'm watching these guys, pop out. And I think every time there's like a Bachelor cast release, I always, there's been an inordinate amount of people from The Bachelor who are around where I live. Like, so I like to go, I just scroll through the hometowns to see if I know anybody. There's a guy, Zach, is that right? I don't think Zach Morris, Zach something a couple years ago.
Yes.
I think he's a doctor. Season. Yes. Yeah.
I know did he run the marathon?
Oh, did he run the marathon? I'm not sure. He seems like a guy who would have run the marathon. I think Matt ran the marathon.
Oh, Zach the Bachelor. You're talking about Zach the Bachelor.
Zach the Bachelor.
His fiance is a nurse.
Ah.
Is that where you got the doctor thing from? Because I don't know.
Zach is from like 10 minutes from me in South Jersey. So that's like when I was scrolling through Zach's, whenever that cast came, I'm like, oh, okay, shout out South Jersey. So I always
it's got to be Tayshia's because I think they had a New York City. It was during COVID. They had a New York City hometown where they were in the same hotel, and he's like, "Oh, this is how you call a taxi," and that was their COVID date. Yeah,
that's really
so it's got to be him. I'm pretty sure it's him.
Everybody loves that as a date. That's a great date night. So I looked at these men, I guess months ago, when they came out, or whenever that was, weeks ago. And I remembered Kelsey's dad. I remembered Bob. The sign lesbians for Bob in the audience really made me laugh. Bob looks like every doctor I've ever had put together. Bob's got such doctor face.
I love Bob. Lesbians for Bob.
Tell me about Bob. What does Bob do for work? Is he a doctor?
He is not a doctor. I forgot what he was. His whole thing was, I mean, he was on the episode for like it was like one episode. Like, the one thing we got to know about him was that he hosted like a lesbian Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving, for like lesbians. And that's where like the wayward lesbians comes from. He's like, oh, that's my home every Thanksgiving. And that's why he brought it up in the mental. He's like, oh, like we're so excited for this Thanksgiving. That's like a thing.
Oh, I love that. Bob and I
he's an ally
together on Tuesday. Let me tell you one thing about Bob.
He's a sweetheart. So his thing was, and I don't even think they mentioned it on the show. My memory's terrible, but he got struck by lightning and his heart stopped for like a minute before they were able to like revive him. Like he went into like a coma or something like that.
Bob died.
So Bob died and then came back. He was out so he got struck by lightning in the middle of the ocean. He was out like paddleboarding or something. And so they had to pull him out of the water. And yes, it's like a crazy, crazy story that I'm surprised they didn't like highlight more because they love this shit. They love that stuff.
He's telling that story in casting, you bet, 100 times.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry, that never came up on the show? You know that from outside reading? That never was on the actual televised show?
Sam, do you remember? I actually don't remember, but I remember I like stalked their social media and I saw that he had gone on a podcast. And so I like listened to the podcast and what it was about. And it was about him being like, this happened to me. I got struck by lightning. It was insane. And
good for Bob. Shout
for
out
Bob.
Bob. Shout out lesbian
Yeah.
for Bob. Lightning for Bob. He loves the L. The L word is lightning for Bob. Not lesbians. That's a fun thing. Gary, can I talk about Gary?
Let's talk
Stylish
about
man,
Gary.
Gary. Oh my God. I just want to hang out with Gary. I want him to take me shopping.
Would you believe me if I told you that he was Tina Turner's godson? Does that make sense?
That 100% makes sense. He looks like he's a stylish guy. How did he do? I have no idea how anybody did on the show. Was he there for a while?
He was there for a while. Again, it just seemed very like friend zone me from the beginning from Joan. So there was never like a romantic connection between them. But he made it far. He was the life of the party. He did like the Chippendales date, I'm pretty sure. And he did like the prom date where they all got dressed up in 80s like outfits and got to relive their prom, which was super cute. But he's a fun guy. For sure.
Oh my God. Shout out Gary. There's a couple, and everybody else that I wrote down like ends up having a segment about themselves. I don't know if like that camera like lingered on them for 2 extra seconds, like when they were doing the rundown of everybody, which made me take notice to them. But everybody else, like I wrote down, like I couldn't believe some of these. At this point in the episode, I think the winner is sitting there. Like I think that the winner is there. So I'm trying to figure out who won.
Who it is. Yeah. And who did you think in the moment? Did you think there were a couple who were the finalists in your head?
I see Jonathan when they're doing the rundown, and I'm like, this is genuinely like a physically beautiful person. He has kind eyes. He looks so nice. So then when they throw it to him for the first segment, when they're like, we're going to talk to Jonathan, I go, okay, it makes sense. I thought maybe if anything, they had like the final 3 narrowed down and they were going to talk to anybody. And then I was shocked. He seemed to have gone early, not early, but like he wasn't Endgame. He wasn't Pascal, who we learn about later. And I was shocked. This guy's a dream guy, Jonathan.
Insane. Like he was my number 1 pick for a while. I'm like, oh, Jonathan's taking this. They had like one-on-ones. They had a very romantic dates. Like it seemed like there was that connection. And then out of nowhere, boom, blindside. You think it doesn't happen on The Bachelor, but it does. So like we were blindsided out of nowhere pretty early. I think we were down to the final 8 when he got eliminated, and it was a shock to everyone.
Is there any sign of it before it happens, or she just pulls him into the ceremony and I guess she doesn't. She pulls Jordan in front of him and then he's gone.
No sign. Oh, you know what? It might have been final 5. I'm lying, but still, yeah, it doesn't. Like we knew so much about Jonathan. He got a whole segment. You know, when they get an intro at the beginning of the first episode, oh, this guy's going to make it far. Jordan didn't get that. You know,
No.
John got that. And yet Jordan was the one who moved on. It was to the final 4, I believe. But it was crazy. He is so sweet. We love him. He pulled out this like sticky note. No, that wasn't him that wrote the sticky note.
That was Mark who wrote it for him.
Mark wrote it for him. That's right. Jonathan, just in case I don't get to stay, I'm humbled to have met you. I've enjoyed this time shared. Place this sticky note on your mirror and remind yourself that you are a fantastic human being. From Mark. What did you think about the sticky note? Be honest. Speak your truth.
It is, and this is maybe a deep philosophical answer, but I do like you, America, as do I, know men that are this age. Like you have, uncles, dads, whatever. Like, and that age group, 50s, 60s, I think Charles is 70, but like, they don't express themselves emotionally. Seldom. Like seldom do you ever see your, dad cry or show emotion, or something. You see your uncle's upset, whatever. And I think that this is just a beautiful thing to get a bunch of guys together. And then it's like any kind of social experiment. You have really beautiful things like this. And like, I don't think that maybe Mark is writing like notes in his kids' lunches or something, but like Mark isn't going around doing this to random guys, it's really nice. And then you see how much Jonathan appreciates it, like genuinely appreciates it. And it's just like, guys should go on fucking guys trips. There should be a service that's like The Bachelor. It's just like sign up to go on a trip with 30 guys
the boys.
For a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Go to a boys trip. It's just really, it's beautiful. And you can tell when they're talking about it, like a lot of like they all want to meet Joan, and I'm sure this is like the byline of what The Bachelor is, but like they all want to meet Joan and talk to Joan, but like they needed each other. They like that's why this is a positive experience for people, especially when you have guys that are like old and aren't going to fight on TV, you know, like well-established careersmen. They're not going to fight. It's just really nice to see people to get along like that. I don't know. It's cool. It's corny. This people hate like not people don't hate, but the first couple seasons of New Era Survivor, when somebody gets voted out, they're like, "Oh, you got me," and they all hug and whatever. And like that's the vibe that this is. I love people don't like that because they want people to be upset. I like some upset, but I love everybody just being happy, you know. And that's what this is. This is fucking feel good, you know. It's great.
I watched season 1 of Survivor recently because I was like, Corey, I'm into Survivor now. I want to watch every single season starting from the beginning. And Corey's like, no, there's so many bad seasons. I'll tell you. Like, he's like, start with 7 or start with, I forgot which numbers.
Start with 7.
But he's like, start with 7 and then do this, 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 and this. That's all you need. And I'm like, no, I want to do them in order. It took me 3 months to finish that first season because it was so slow. They're like alliances when someone brings up, you know, getting together. They're like, how dare you? That's so slimy. What do you mean an alliance? It's like, it's a completely different show. And it's just like so much slower. And it's funny to see how like it's evolved, how every reality TV show has evolved. I'm sure if we were to go back and watch like the first season of The Bachelorette, it's very, very different.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This is the first,
This is, we only evolve from here. Now, are there going to be guys who just go on the show who literally just want to meet some more fucking guys?
We're going to see,
you know, like
so many sticky notes. Yeah, we're going to get so many sticky note segments.
Oh my God. You know, and like the sticky note, like we love New Era Survivor. I love New Era Survivor because you get to see the vibes be happy. And now the vibes aren't as happy. Everybody who's leaving New Era Survivor right now in the past couple of weeks has been upset, you know, and I like that there's a vibe change. So maybe next season of Golden Batch 2, you know, you get a bunch of angry guys. Maybe they like not correct the casting, but maybe they cast people who are going to be more confrontational. It doesn't seem like any of these 24 men are confrontational at all. Like there's zero confrontation, but maybe that's what, you know, I want to see some old guys fight. You know, they all have old guy strength. I don't have.
Get Jerry in this house. BB10. Like
Jerry in this. Jerry's, I think, a ripe 86. Throw him in there. Throw him in here. You know, he's got strength for days and he'll yell. We know that he'll yell. We've seen him yell, you know, he'll yell biblical stuff, which is even cooler. Kind of. He'll throw out Judas, you know,
stuff. Yeah.
We're missing people quoting the Bible. We're actually not. We're remarkably not. I wish people would stop quoting. I'm seeing a lot of people quote the Bible in the past couple of days.
So
wish
many
they wouldn't.
Bible verses everywhere. But I need more fights. I thought this was a very boring season. And I thought, we don't know anything about Joan. I don't know if you got anything from Joan this episode. Do you know anything about her?
I know nothing about Joan. I wish I knew anything about Joan. 2, I wish I knew why it didn't work out with Jerry. I wish I got some more background on that. I understand why they're not showing that in this episode, but I would have loved that background. But Joan just seems nice. Like, I wish I knew more about Joan. I know a lot about the men. And I never want to learn more about the men. I would have liked to have known more about Joan. The only insight that I got into Joan was with, and I'm sorry for skipping around, but with Pascal. Pascal, I feel like, and again, I've watched this show now for an hour today, 2 hours ago. I think that she really liked this guy. Like they really, in the 5-minute clip show they showed of them two getting together, like she seemed like she really dug him in a way that, I mean, she didn't like Charles. Like she 0% liked Charles. That was very evident. I love Charles. She didn't like Charles. She seemed like she liked Jonathan, but she wasn't sure, right? But she really liked Pascal, and it's a shame that Pascal wasn't feeling it.
I love him. I'm a Pascal defender.
Sure.
I'm a Pascal fan. Stan, hello. Yeah. I was in his DMs.
Yeah.
I was in his sister's DMs, and his daughter's DMs, being like, "Hey, Mo." Anyways, he had so much personality. Like, he was the star of the show, and there was so much commentary, and he would give us like the funniest lines. He didn't know how to cook. He didn't know how to clean. Yeah. So, you know, he had money, and he wasn't scared of, like, you know, he's a little high maintenance, and he was okay with that. And he was very vocal about it. He didn't shy away from that. But then we also got like his backstory. He grew up very poor in France, and then he moved to America and made he's a salon owner. So he's a hairstylist, but salon owner as well. And I love him. I think he is so cool. I think Joan realized maybe that she really liked him when he broke up with her. Because that was very sudden. That was
Wow.
just
Yeah.
last episode. I did not see it coming. They're down to the final 3. And all of a sudden, he's like, I didn't think I was going to get this far, Joan. Like, I'll be honest. I came in day 1 and I was like, oh, I have a lot of competition. I'm probably just going to be here a few episodes. And I'm just not feeling it. The spark isn't there. And TBH, I don't think Joan likes any of the guys left. I don't think she likes either. I don't
Oh,
really think she liked Pascal that much. Maybe she liked
sure.
him the most. She kept saying, like, you remind me a lot of John, my late husband, which is like
Oh,
a good thing, right? She's like, oh, everything is a moment, everything is an event, and like you make everything so fun. And then we
sure.
have Chalk and Guy. And these are our final 2 guys. Where are
Oh,
they?
I've never seen these men. Okay, sure.
Are you surprised? Or is this exactly what
This
you pictured?
It's like the vice presidency. You just got to pick one of the, like, it could be either of these. One of these 2 men could be Tim
It's,
Kaine, and I have no idea.
it's like spot the difference.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, she's got a type. It's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Who do we want to win? Do we care? Do we have a rooting interest?
Chalk is a little bit of a villain, I think.
There's
He's
a
a little
villain?
bit there's a villain and it's Chalk and he's so harmless and it's so funny that we're even calling him a villain, but he's just like coming on a little bit too strong. He's like, Joan, I want to marry you. I love you. Like, I need a
Mhm.
relationship with you right now. His mother passed away during filming. He left for 2 days, came back, for like a day, came back the next day and was like, Joan, I'm here for you. Um, so it's just a little bit sketchy, and people are like, is he
Sure.
there for the right reasons? And then there's Guy, who, again, he's just Guy. We don't know much about him. He's the ER doctor, and
Okay.
he's just there, sort of, and so is Chalk. So
Guy is who told Charles L about his wife.
correct, yes.
Heard. Okay.
Charles L, my
Charles
king.
L. Oh my God, this guy. This guy commands the crowd like Emily Flippin does at a Rob is a Podcast event. Is that anything that he says, the crowd's going fucking crazy for Charles L. Which is great. I love this. I mean, I love this guy. This guy would have been a hit on any reality show. He picked this one, but you throw this guy on Survivor. C is coming for Charles L. C is giving Charles L. And Charles L probably has a lot of money already. But he's like, hey, take another 100K for me. But yeah, this guy's fantastic.
I love Charles L. I thought it was so funny though, and so rude of Jesse Palmer. He sits him down in the hot seat. He's like, okay, Charles L, like, Charles, let's talk. He's like, what's different? What's going on? He points out his hair. Why would he do that?
Oh, okay. So
You
I had no idea. I was unsure.
We had it before and after. So he came into the show with the white hair, the gray hair. All of a sudden he shows up and Jesse immediately points it out. And, Charles L is really funny. So he's like, oh, I've been eating really good.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But
That makes so much more sense to me now. I had no idea. He looks
like,
fine
Jesse,
with gray
fuck off.
hair. Yeah.
He looks fine either way.
Yeah.
But
he's a handsome guy. He's very charismatic. I loved how he talked about his daughter. What a guy. I don't know. Is he giving like, and I'm sorry, not to be TMI, but like, is he giving like partner? Is he giving partner? Is Charles L giving like?
Speak your mind. What does that mean?
I don't know. Is he giving like a guy? Like, he just seems like a really nice, lovely guy who like you want to have, meals with and wake up with and, walk on the beach with. But like, I don't know, you're like life partner. Like, you know what you do in life. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say it, but like, I don't know.
What do you do, Brandon? What do you do in life? What are you talking about?
I'm not going to, I'm federal for this medium. But I don't know. Charles L wasn't giving me like the way that like,
come on, it's America and Brandon tell all.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That shocked me.
You're in the hot seat now.
You dyed your hair, I think. What's different? I think that Charles L, like when you saw Charles L talking to Joan, like it's very clear. Joan's like, oh, like lovely. Yeah. Like there just wasn't that.
A little patronizing too, like
that fire. You know what I mean? I don't know if Charles L is lovely, but I don't know if Charles L is bringing the fire, the heat, the passion that you would need for it's not always going to be on camera, guys. You know what I mean? That off camera stuff. You
So
just
we're talking about the hypothetical fantasy suite.
The hypothetical
Would
fantasy
Charles L deliver on a fantasy suite? Your answer is no.
And Charles, plenty of people would say this about me. So I'm not. This isn't an indictment on you. It's really not. Like I was gonna say, prove me wrong. I don't want you to. I don't ever want to know if that's true or not. But yeah, I think that in the fantasy suite, I don't know how Charles L is gonna do.
Well, as someone, you'd be surprised. As someone who has been to the fantasy suite, aka the cheese room, the have not room, last year in the Big Brother house.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little unexpected and you don't see it coming, and it's probably not what you would expect from certain people just by looking at them. So I think Charles L can surprise a lovely lady, and I think he's got it in him. I think you need to.
This is all also my endorsement. He should be the Golden Bachelor. Like, there's no doubt that my first pick off the board would be Jonathan, but Jonathan says he's in a relationship. Like Jonathan's out of the game. Pascal, I think, is also a viable option. I can see that. He's very charismatic. He can carry a whole season, but throw Charles L in there. Prove me wrong, Charles L.
I thought they were going to do it. It was so awkward, y'all. Yeah. So they have Charles L there. They're talking about everything. They're really hyping him up. Like, Charles L, you're a really fun guy. You're a great guy. Jesse even goes like, are you ready to date? And he's like, yeah, I found, confidence throughout the show, and like, I'm ready to put myself out there. And then they have this random girl in the crowd be like, hey, you, we think you should be our next Golden Bachelor. And I was like, oh my God, they're about to announce Charles L as the Bachelor. I really thought it was happening. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And then they're like, and we're going to commercial break. I was like, what?
Yeah. Do you think he would do it? Do you think he's saying yes if he gets the offer?
Oh, of course. I think he loves being on TV. He's really comfortable. It's very rare to find like these guys too, like older men over 60 who have never thought about ever being on television, to have them be good in confessionals, like be comfortable in front of the camera. First off, like, these cameras are in your faces. I don't know how y'all did it. I saw this TikTok recently of the Survivor crew. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
It's been like going viral. They're like, oh, this is like the behind the scenes. It's so many people. Is it what you expected when you went on the island? Like, it's so much.
It was a lot. And it was so fun for me. Like, I was like, I'm getting, my whole thing, I said my whole thing was like a Make-A-Wish. Like, I was there the appropriate amount of time, either like a young sick boy be on Survivor. I was there and then I wasn't. But it's like every time I give a confession, I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking, there's like a guy holding this thing and he's got boom mics, I was living my best life. And really, like, that's what, like, I am, not to say I wasn't great at everything I did on Survivor, but like, I knew that the confessional is like where I could really like show not only myself and the crew and like people who watched it, like, this is why you have me here, is like, I can give good commentary, right? I can talk. Like, that's like the byline for me is that like, I'm a good talker. I'm funny. I can pull you, so that's where I felt the best. But like, you get there and there's like 9 people watching you talk. You have an audience, which is all I ever want is an audience. I'm on this podcast. I've never seen this show. I want an audience that bad. So I really liked it. But it is in Big Brother. I assume that it's not 9 people. Is it 2 or 3 or 0?
0. When we're in the DR, it's nobody. We don't see a face. It's literally just a camera and a bright ass light, and there's a mic, and we just, they talk to us, we answer questions. That's it. The one time we do see people, and I think I've talked about this before, so I can say it. We do walk out the front door sometimes to go play competitions. Yes. So we walk out the front door. So we do see people, we do see production when they're walking us from one place to the other, because obviously we have to be like supervised and we can't talk at all when we're outside of the house. But they'll walk us from like one area of the house to another like studio lot to do competitions. And then, so the second competition that we did, the second HOH that we did, was Escape the Nether Region. That was the one where like the big Nether Gorgon was chasing after us. And it was sort of like musical chairs. There was like a crew of like, it felt like 30, 40 people. And they were just like lined up in a way that that it looks similar to Survivor from what I saw on that TikTok,
where
it's like a whole crew of people holding mics, cameras, all of that stuff. That was the only time we saw like more than 2 people at a time.
Which is jarring. You see, it's like, oh my God, if I fuck up, there's going to be a lot of people watching me fuck up, before many millions of people watch you later. But yeah, it's high pressure.
It's fun, but it's also like, as a fan too, they're like, oh my God, this is so cool. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm waking up in the Big Brother. This is so cool. Oh my God, they're playing music in the Big Brother house. This is so cool. I'm in the storage room in the Big Brother house. Like it like never escapes you. I was there like week 10, week 11 being like, oh my God, like I'm in the restroom that doesn't lock in the Big Brother house. I sort of sounded like SpongeBob, where he's like, I'm doing this at night.
I love that. Is the Bachelor Mansion the same every time? Like, is this the mansion that I watched? Like, the couple seasons
that you watched with Colton and
yes,
and what's his face, Nick Viall.
It looks familiar. Like the common space looks familiar, but I could be totally wrong that this is a different house.
I think they renovated because they didn't use it last season. So I don't know if maybe their contract was up and they had to like.
Has the Bachelor, has this franchise been broken yet where you have somebody walk in and like, oh my God, I'm in the Bachelor house? Like they recognize it the way that people recognize the islands on Survivor?
What do you mean? I don't think so. Just because people that apply to be on the show have usually like never watched it before.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like a lot of recruits, a lot of influencers that really have no like idea about reality television. The only thing they know is that they want to be on, but have never actually watched the show. That's the vibe. So
there's a this is now off topic, but indulge me. There's a book that I've seen that's like How to Win the Bachelor. I've seen this at stores. Like I think it's literally called How to Win the Bachelor or How to Get Some Kind of Fun Rose. And then I think I remember like a controversy where somebody brought that book into the house with them, and then somebody saw them reading. Is that real? That happened?
You know your shit. So from what I remember, it wasn't an actual book. It was like a binder with notes. So it was like almost even worse because it was like this guy had been like cramming and like studying, and he had written all these notes on his computer, printed it out, and it was like, this is what you do if you get a one-on-one date. This is what you do during a group date. And like it was just so awkward. And for some reason, obviously, like production set him up and they found it. The hosts found it and they turned it over to the Bachelorette, and they're like, hey, we found this in his room. And then she had to go and confront him. And
so does that person, does he want to win, or does he want to like parlay in next appear? Like he wants the Bachelor Pad or Paradise, whatever they call it.
I'm sure anybody who gets on is like, oh yeah, if I fall in love, that's cool. But even cooler would be to get my own show out of this and to be the next Bachelor, be the next Bachelorette. That's probably the goal, or like make it as far as possible so you get the most screen time, so you make it to Paradise. So you get to be the next Golden Bachelor. This season was a little different. Again, this is the first Golden Bachelorette season. None of these guys knew really what the show was about, except Kelsey's dad, Mark. Sure. But everybody else was like, what's the first impression, Rose? And they're like asking questions. And they had like a whole segment where they really didn't know like how the group dates worked or like how like the one-on-ones worked. So they were just, just there for the ride. I don't think,
That's like, people say that about Survivor. They want a season of all people who have never seen it. And that's what like that you like that'll never happen. Like Survivor will never do that. But that's what this is essentially. Is like you have Mark essentially
BB26, basically.
I abstained. I didn't watch it. Congratulations to Chelsea. Is Chelsea?
Chelsea won. Yeah.
Shout out to Chelsea. I did not. I watched the first week. I love Angela. Shout out to Angela. If you're listening, Angela, you seem great.
Love Angela.
Everybody else, I got nothing. I'm sure you're great. Quinn. Oh, I love Quinn. I talked to Quinn before Quinn left. But I sat this one out. If you watched them all,
talked to Quinn before he left. What do you mean? Before he left, what?
Before he left for Big Brother, he was in my DM about something. I say that like Paige, it's fine. If you need anything, DM me. But he was in the casting process and had a couple questions because I had gone through Big Brother in 2019. I was almost on Big Brother 21 and then was on for Survivor. So I had done casting processes before. So he had a question. And then I almost exclusively voice note. And I sent him a voice like, you're gonna get on. Like he was in the process. I'm like, you look like Big Brother. Like you look like every person that's ever been a Big Brother. Like you will get there.
Curly hair, you're in.
Oh my God.
Like,
and he's got like pictures where he's posing. I think my exact words were like, you're so Big Brother coded. Like you will be on Big Brother at some point. And then I had no idea. And then weeks and weeks went by, and then he was talking about Survivor 45 on the live feed. So then I went on his Instagram and saw that he followed me. I'm like, oh, that's fun. And then I looked at our DMs, and then I saw we had a whole conversation.
You remembered, yeah.
Which lovely. You know, what a fucking guy. You know, what a great guy. And I'm like, he really like lived the dream. He seemed like he really, really had a fun time there, and is having, you know, I follow him on Instagram. He's going live every 20 minutes, which is like that's what you do when you go on Big Brother. You go live every 20 minutes when you get home. So I'm absolutely thrilled for Quinn. What a guy.
He's so fun. And yeah, when you come out, it's like, oh my God, like I was being perceived by all these people and they're so used to watching me all the time. So you got to give them the live feeds, which is why they're going live all the time. They like take turns, the BB26 cast.
They're all going live. It's great. I mean, I think I only follow Quinn, but Quinn's live a lot. Quinn's probably live right now. We can make a bet, but Quinn, the guy's live. One thing about him. He's leaving nothing up to the imagination, which is, you know, what you want to do. That's exactly, you know, how many of these men do you think can work if you gave them all phones and you were like, go live on Instagram right now? How many people can do it? Like
one guy, Pascal. I know Pascal. I think he's tech savvy. He doesn't know how to cook or clean or do his laundry.
Yeah.
I know he can work an Instagram live, a TikTok live. I can see him doing battles. LOL. Yeah. No, TikTok. He would never do TikTok battles.
He's with Nova Creative Agency.
Yeah, he's
right now. he's with.
No, I don't. He wouldn't do battles. That's below him. He doesn't need the money. But I think he would do a TikTok live, Instagram live. I think he'd be on Twitter.
He's got a good DM slide, Pascal. You'd venture to think that his DM slides are good. You know, everything's it's smooth. He seems like a smooth guy.
He's French.
It's French. It's the language of love.
In his genes, it's in his blood. And I love Pascal. I don't know who we'll see as the Golden Bachelor. I would hope it's Pascal, but I don't know if he would say yes. So his whole thing was like, I got broken up with last year. And I'm still like, feeling a little heartbroken over it. I'm not completely over that relationship. And I'm like, why'd you get on the show? Why'd you come on the show? You know, whatever. But I would think he would do it. Maybe that's it. I was going to say, Jonathan.
Do we think it bodes well for the people that got hot seat segments? That it will be one of them, presumably. Like, it's not going to be Bob. You know what I mean? Like, you would venture to guess it's one of them. Like, Jonathan makes logical sense in the event that Jonathan's no longer in a relation when this films. I fucking love this guy. Oh, my God. Like, immediately smitten by him.
Yeah. Why would they bring it up, though, his relationship? They didn't bring up Mark's relationship. Mark is in a relationship.
And Mark was on the couch.
And he was on the couch. So I'm like, maybe they're trying to, keep it low key. And I don't know.
You actually just inspired a question that I wrote for you. Is there ever a situation on this show, like historically, if for example, Joan is on this show, right? Joan's at the reunion, but she's been dating Bob this whole time, who she eliminated like fourth, right? Does that ever happen where it's like are they allowed to contact each other also? Like can Joan and Bob talk to each other post filming? And then what if they date afterward?
That's fine. It's happened. Do you remember? I know you've watched Traitors. Do you know Pilot Pete?
Pilot Pete. I watched Pilot Pete's mom cry on this show.
Pilot Pete's mom. We don't like Barb. She was
sorry, Barb.
I thought we liked Barb. I was like, Barb was onto something. And then I saw her celebrating Trump yesterday on her Instagram, like crying tears of joy again. Again, that same face. Anyways,
I was rooting for you, Barb. I was rooting for her
too.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if you remember Pilot Pete season, but he ended up breaking up with the winner and going back with the runner up. And that's what happened at the live after the final rose, where it's like we see something, we see one engagement happen, and then we're at the live after the final rose, and he's like, actually, we broke up in the last 2-3 months, and now I'm dating Maddie, the runner-up. And then it gets worse.
Fucking tell all. That's the one you want to tell.
That's good. And that's when we have like And Barb, his mom, did not like the runner-up. So she says they ask her, they're like, what do you think? And she's like, at the time it was Chris, not Jesse. She's like, Chris, he's just gonna have to learn before he succeeds, or like it's something like that, like super shady. Like he's just gonna have to fail before he succeeds. And it was so awkward, but it was also like, this is what we want from a live like tell-all,
Yeah.
It was like very real, but it gets worse.
Yeah.
Because not only does Pilot Pete do this, but then he ends up breaking up with Maddie and goes back and dates his like third runner-up, and they date for like 3-4 years, break off. They're on and off. I think they're obviously off right now,
Sure.
but they dated for a while too. So you are allowed to like contact other cast members if you change your mind, that's totally fine.
He's making his way through the boot list. He's going top to bottom. That's crazy. That's exactly what my question was. I wasn't sure if that had happened, because like I'm just picturing Joan getting there and she's like, actually, like I rekindled with Jonathan when I got back and now we're dating. Like I was expecting,
wait, you might be onto something. Did Jonathan mention who he's with? No. He said, I am dating someone.
Wait. Are you doing a bit? Because that could be real, right? There's a non-zero chance that could be real.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it'd be funny, but The Bachelor is not that smart. They would never do that. Like the Bachelor
would never
franchise.
Do the hint. They're not doing foreshadowing on The Bachelor.
Definitely not. So yeah, I don't know.
Jonathan, I know you're watching. I hope that you break up with your partner, and then you can be we can do this all season with you. It'll be great.
It's the only logical choice. I know the producers are scrambling. They're like, fuck. Every guy is in a relationship. Every eligible guy's in a relationship. But like, who? Like, what do we do? What do we do? They're freaking out.
The other guy that I wrote down his name, who we have not talked about, I don't think he was much of a entity on the show, was Keith. I thought Keith was very like I wrote, what a catch this guy is. He just seems like a good guy.
You know what? Who?
You got no idea who fucking Keith is? You watch
who
this whole
the
show.
fuck is Keith? Wait, who is he?
He had a couple lines. I don't know.
What are your notes?
I wrote, what a catch this guy is. I wrote all cute, comma, what a catch this guy is. He just seems like a nice guy. Hold on.
Keith.
America's Googling a picture of Keith for the
Keith,
audio listeners.
Look, I think Keith was the New York firefighter. Does that sound right? Oh no, Keith, hello. No. Keith is the big teddy bear. Yes.
Keith is a big teddy
Girl dad was his
Girl dad.
Oh my god,
that's his job on Wikipedia.
Girl dad is his job. That was his little that was his occupation. That's right. Keith was great. It could be Keith. He wasn't in the hot seat though. Maybe they're saving that for next episode. But
is there more hot seat in the next episode? They do more.
Do
they do a reunion with the two guys?
They do with all the guys, and now the final two come out. So next week we should have the finale. So it'll be an hour. We see the proposal, and then the last half is after the final rose. We bring out all the men again, but now the final two come out. Joan comes out with her guy, and they explain how their relationship's been going, and that's when they should announce the next Golden Bachelor. I cannot believe y'all that I forgot Keith. I was a big Keith defender back a few weeks ago, and then he sort of, I don't know, just disappeared all of a sudden, and he got no screen time the last couple of episodes that he was on. But he was I think he got the first impression rose. He did get the first impression rose.
Damn,
so
good for Keith.
Yeah, and then he just fell off. He didn't do anything with that.
Keith, he could have come back. Maybe she's dating Keith. Are the Men Tell All and the final rose, are they filmed in the same day? Like, are we just going to see an hour continuation after what we just watched?
I don't know how they're doing this season, but usually those are live.
Oh, that man, this is a good franchise. I got to get in on this. This is, I hung up my torch years ago with this franchise. I got to get back in. This is fun.
Well, I'll let you know, because this is, I don't know how next season is going to be. I feel like the last couple of seasons have been sort of disappointing.
Yeah.
Where there's just like no drama. There's no, like, Jen's season was she was the last Bachelorette. Yes. And it was really frustrating because their last two men like sucked. And they did this crazy thing where they had her, she had broken up with the guy, or he had broken up with her by the time we got
Yes.
to the live reunion. They had her watch the proposal there live so we could see her reaction to him proposing, or she proposed to him. 'Cause the season was all about her taking back her power, but then they
Sure.
totally took her power away by like making her suffer and cry on purpose
My
for
God.
the cameras, for, everyone else's entertainment. It was just like really gross to watch,
Yeah.
and gross that like production made her go through that, because Devin ended up being like not a nice guy. That was her final guy. He
Yes.
sucks.
She did a dance on Dancing with the Stars, not about Devin, but like taking her power back on Dancing with the Stars, which is my favorite show, famously.
You know it. You know it.
RIP. She just got, but she's dating her partner. You know, she's dating her partner.
Are they legit? I saw some TikToks and I couldn't tell. He is shirtless, making her a steak. I'm like, oh, maybe they're just like really close friends. Is it confirmed, Brandon?
So
Okay,
somebody texted me that it was confirmed. I haven't done my research.
Yeah.
I should have, but I do believe it's confirmed.
Oh my God. And this happens often, right? So do you keep up with Dancing with the Stars, or like,
oh yeah, it's my
you a
literal
fan?
favorite show. If I could have done that rather than Survivor, I would have. I'm not famous. It's my I've never missed an episode. Like, it's my literal, from, seasons 1 to 33, my favorite show.
How's the season going? What are your thoughts?
The season's good. Well, it's so funny because my favorite person on said season is fucking Joey. This guy
Actually?
he is the most likable, like humble guy, which like my litmus test for The Bachelor, like my pool of people that I watch is like Nick and Colton, which are like, I don't know if I'm using like humble to describe. I mean, maybe like it just seems like Joey is just like a really, really like nice, like it feels like I say nice kid because I think he's my age, but he just feels like a guy I went to high school with, like just a really nice, inoffensive guy. And he can really, really dance. Like my favorite thing, even about Survivor and Dancing with the Stars, they had like the congruency is like seeing people who otherwise would not thrive in this environment, like seeing non-dancers just naturally be like, oh, I can dance and I'm good at it. Like that's why you watch like Sari and Courtney Yates and Cochran. Like that's why I love watching them on Survivor. David Wright, not me. Like people who are like, they go there and they're like, they thrive. Joey is like, who would have thought? I mean, granted, he's like an athletic guy, but like, who would have thought he's just like a naturally really great dancer? He's got fucking great hips, America, and listeners.
Crazy.
He's got great hips. Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. He is like a himbo. His thing on his season was that they ended up going to Rome, and he's like, Rome's got like a very old school vibe. And people were like clowning on him for it.
That's like, very, very funny. I haven't heard that. That's really funny. Yeah, he's just fucking like, he's a good guy to have around, Joey. That's really right. And I love, I all of my Kelsey knowledge, I didn't watch the show, but like all of my Kelsey knowledge is from TikTok. She's a big TikToker. She seems very funny. She's very charming. Like what a great couple. I'm so thrilled for them. And Mark, did a great job. Mark, shout out Mark from this show.
You also
did a great job.
Mark from Dancing with the Stars. He's always like in the crowd, or they'll bring him.
Guy's got a fucking vacation house in the crowd. He bought a timeshare out there. But it's so nice. I mean, like Joey said something to him in this episode. He's like, "We're all so proud of you," which is so nice. It's really, really nice. So shout out to Joey. I hope he wins Dancing with the Stars. I picked him episode 1 as my winner pick. So really, his only competition right now is Chandler Kinney, who's a beautiful dancer, who I think is from the Zombies Disney franchise, which is not something I've seen. But she's really, really good.
I've never watched it.
It'll be one of those two for sure. But I'm hoping for Joey. Normally, Dancing with the Stars, I have a pretty good success rate of who I want to, the Amon Shumpert, JoJo Siwa season. I was really in on Amon Shumpert. I never heard of him until week 1 of the show. I'm like, oh, I like this guy. This guy's great. So TBD, but shout out Joey. I hope, I'm all in on the batch right now. So hopefully Joey can take the W.
He had a fun season. The girls were fighting. The girls are fighting
over him.
As they should.
As they should.
That's what you want.
He's a catch, this guy. How was Kelsey? Was she fighting, or she was?
Let's talk about the edit, right? Because right now the show, The Golden Bachelorette, is leading us to believe that like Chalk is the one. Chalk's got a big like winner's edit, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Kelsey came out of nowhere. I don't know if other people agree. I did not have her as my winner pick. She barely got any screen time. I think Daisy, who was the runner-up, was like from the get-go, like, oh, she's going to be the final two. Like, we got so much Daisy throughout the show. And then all of a sudden, that last, like, episode, he, like, really started vocalizing, like, I really like Kelsey. And it was like a switch during the last episode. But she does great. She's very nice the entire time. She's sort of like a dark horse, because she came out of nowhere. Yeah. Literally. I did not see her being like a contender at all.
Is she getting confessionals throughout? Or is the Bachelor something where she's missing and then she's just at the end?
Here and there. It was just like very like scattered. In my head, like she had no shot at all.
Huh. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I mean, they really seem like a great couple. They really they seem to get each other. They you know, Kelsey, again, like the only thing I know about her from TikTok is she's like super funny, and I'm glad that I'm glad that whatever that is working for that. I'm thrilled.
She's funny, and they're like our age, which is weird. Like watching the Bachelor, Bachelorette, where they're like, some of them are like younger than me. I'm 28. And I'm like, they're 25, 26. Like, shut up. Stop lying. You're not on the show to get married. Like, I don't want to hear.
I just said that to Devin recently. That it's weird. Like, Survivor was never super trippy to me, seeing people that were my age playing Survivor. But like, for some reason, this show, where it just seems so big, like the stakes are so much higher because it's love. You know, it's like fucking the guy leaves the show. This one, I think maybe his name isn't Mark. He's like, I'm going home alone after this. Like, that's crazy. Like, the stakes are so much higher for love that it seems crazy. I mean, I think Demi did it when she was like 23, 24, like, you know, much younger.
No, I was like, Demi, I grew up with you. Like, how do I say it? We're literally the same age. I think we're like a month apart, but I'm like, I feel like I grew up watching you on TV. She was 22, I think. Yeah, 23. Like, she was super young.
Yeah.
Like, and then they kept bringing her back, like show after show after show, you know, like she was a staple of the Bachelor, the Bachelor franchise. But I'm like, this is crazy. Like, to be doing that shit at such a young age, have all these cameras in your face, just waiting for you to cry because they want to get that.
Yeah. I don't know if I tell people to do this show. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would like this. This seems like a hard one to like sell. I mean, I don't know. Would you tell people to do Big Brother? Like, if you have somebody that you meet and they're like, I want to do Big Brother, do you say yes?
Yeah, I'd be like, go for it. Apply. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you feel like you want to do it, go for it. I think it takes a very specific type of person. I was actually talking to Julie recently. Julie from 45.
Oh my God, my buddy.
She's in Nashville. So she's from Nashville. So we hung out and she's like, doesn't it feel weird? Like, it's still so crazy that we were on TV. But I'm like, and I don't know how you feel, Brandon, but it's like, oh, we're all sort of crazy, like, to be doing this. Like, it feels like we're not normal. I'm like, oh, like, I go back home and I talk to my family and I'm like, oh, none of you guys would. In my head, I'm like, none of you guys would be able to be on TV. They don't want to either. They're like super camera shy. But I'm like, it takes like a specific type of crazy to put yourself out there and want to do this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I went to Catholic school from my whole kindergarten to senior year of high school, and like we had nuns, and the way that the nuns describe to you, this is a crazy analogy, but like the way the nuns would describe to you, like the calling.
I'm like, wait, you're about to get biblical.
Oh, God forbid, Jerry Judas, with low honors. The way that nuns would describe like the calling to like, I knew I needed to go do this, and then like I remember being in 5th, 6th grade of like, what do you mean? Like, you knew? And they're like, oh, I knew. Like. Again, it's a totally different thing. But like, I see Survivor for the first time, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's I need to go do that. I need to go see what this is, you know. And it was like there was never a time where that wasn't it. Like, I meet fans of these shows now, and you do as well. Like, you're at all the same things, and they love Survivor. They love Survivor. They love Big Brother, and they don't want to do it. And I like it never ever occurred to me that I could watch one of these and not want to go play. Like, it was like, oh, I don't have to go do it. Like, I really like, there is a thing. And that's what that's what I tell people is like, if you can't not think about it, then you have to go do it. You have to try to do it. But if there's any part of you that isn't in on this, like, you should sit out. Like, if there's any doubt, I never had doubt. I never had a shred of doubt that I wanted to go play. But this show, like the whole batch as a whole, it just seems like there's so much more stakes. Like, there's so much, like, I mean, I was not good at the challenges on my show, which is like embarrassing in quotes, certainly.
They're hard.
Like, there's so much room here for you to be like really hurt, and it's like really personally hurt too, which is
Do you
like,
think they're actually being vulnerable? Like, I just feel like people go on these shows, especially The Bachelor, to become influencers. They
sure,
don't
yeah.
really care. I don't know. And
Is that right?
obviously, like it's
Huh?
edited, so we
Yeah.
only see, specific moments. But I just feel like they aren't as invested as you think they are.
I have to watch more of this because I like the world that I come from, like the Big Brothers, the Survivors, like everybody, like you and like me and like Quinn, like we all want it. Like we all want to be there, and it's so foreign to me to have a show like this with such a history, like such a 20-year history, that people will go back
Yeah,
and watch and reference
it's
you, and there's
different.
Reddit, whatever, and to not care. You're exactly right. I mean, it's so funny because I just haven't ever put myself in that mindset. I've never thought about it. But that's
I
really,
don't
it's
think there's
interesting.
Bachelor super fans that go on the show. I
Yeah.
not in the
We
same way.
need to pitch somebody. We need to groom somebody to get them in there and be like, this is the room where blank out, like,
Yes.
they'll be doing the boot list at the rose ceremony. Like, oh, well, in season 17, the first rose went to blank and they got fourth. Like, we need that on The Bachelor. We need to throw them in here.
Literally, because I need someone next year to be like, oh my God, this is the grill where they put the barbecue sauce on the burgers last year. It's
I bought the
crazy.
barbecue sauce on eBay. Charles
Yeah.
signed it. We had Charles and Jack. They both signed it. Or Christopher and Jack. Yeah, that's so funny. I've never thought about it. But what a weird study in the philosophy of these fan bases and the people
Yeah, I
that
think we're going
want to go play.
deeper than anybody has ever before
No,
on a Bachelor podcast.
not at all. That's why you have me. You don't need a Vile file when you got a Brandon file, a Donlon file.
Exactly. LOL. Sorry, Zach.
We can cut
But
that. Zach will cut that. Don't. I don't want to get you in trouble, Zach. We'll cut it.
Sam will cut it. Okay, one last guy though that we haven't talked about. A prospect, a maybe a Golden Bachelor, perhaps.
Sure.
Do you remember Kim, the retired Navy
the prospect
captain? Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
We had a big segment. They actually, so the Bachelor, the Mansion Men. That was a big thing here for the Mansion Men. Say, some ladies in the crowd, they want to hear the Mansion Men song.
Yeah.
So Kim came in. He's like, I, want to write this song. I want to sing it for Joan. Come on, guys, let's sing it. And all the guys are sitting there like we don't really want to do this. Maybe you should do it. It's your song. This is your special gift. And it was just so funny because in the end, it ended up being him and Guy who performed it to Joe. Guy's a guy's guy. Yeah. So he was there for everybody. But in the end, they did bring out a choir and the crowd, everyone was singing the Mansion Men. I hate that song. I never want to hear it ever again. I think it's so corny, but
this unbelievably was the worst thing that's happened to me this week. And this has been a fucking rough week for us. I'm so glad that the franchise that I've dedicated my life to would never do this. You know what I mean? There's never a thought that if you have a song on Survivor that you like hum, I guess they'll do your shanthums. That's about the level you want to cap off at.
Yeah. Would you ever think to be like, oh, let me write a song, have everyone on the island sing it, and this is going to be our thing?
I wrote Captain Kim is the only person on this show I'd want to vote off. If there was only one elimination, it's this fucking guy. Get him out of here. What's that?
You're right. No, I'm like, you're absolutely right. This is what I've been saying the whole time. I'm like, he's there for the wrong reasons. He wants to be a singer-songwriter. He's trying to get on the show to kickstart his singing career.
Listen to Your Heart was a couple years ago, buddy. You missed the boat on Listen to Your Heart. You could have been out there with Trevor and Danny Padilla. You weren't. Yeah, it's when I was watching it, I'm like, I love reality TV. So I'm doing like the math in my head of like, are they casting all of these 24 men to win? Like, how much fodder is there? What's the breakdown? Like people debate that on Survivors. Everybody that's cast on Survivor, all 18 people, can they all win? People say no. People say it's half. People say there's only 3 or 4 people. Kim is the only guy I met in this hour who cannot win this show. It's crazy that he went as far as he did. I looked at Wikipedia initially because I was trying to spoil myself, but I don't know anybody's name and they don't have pictures. So then I went and Googled certain people. But yeah, this guy, Captain Kim, man, oh my God.
That's all he gave us. He gave us the Mansion Men song. He fixed the sink at one point. But other than that, he was just, classic. I don't know if you watch Below Deck, but it was like Captain Lee vibes.
Sure. I don't, but I've seen images of Captain Lee and they look similar.
it's
They're
the
giving
same
the
person.
same. Yeah.
The same vibes. These are all the men. They're looking so cute
Oh, this is
with
great.
their little suits on. We
I
have
really also
Jack
liked
there.
I liked Pascal. I mean, I'm sorry. I loved Pascal. I like the guy behind Pascal. He seemed very nice.
Are you talking about Greg? The
Yes,
third
Greg.
guy at the top, right?
Yes.
The snorer.
The
Yeah.
snorer Greg. He just seems like all my friends' dads. He really gives dad.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just a dad. What did he do? Oh, Pascal actually paid him to do his laundry. And he's like, "Are you for real?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll pay you $100 a load." He's like, "I'm down." So, yeah, he
You
was
have
doing
this
Pascal's
picture brought
laundry.
up. For the audio listeners, I'm going to ask a certain detail about the picture here that I actually wrote down in my notes as well. Jonathan is wearing something under his shirt, and it's not an undershirt. It's have you
Is it
seen
like the
this
Scooby
before?
Doo? Like an ascot? Like the
I guess so, but isn't an ascot supposed to like pop out like past where the first button is? Like I'm picturing like Jerry Seinfeld, like in the Seinfeld episode with that like the fluffy shirt. I'm picturing
the
like
fluffy
more.
shirt, the puffy
I'm
shirt.
picturing more fluff. I'm picturing more puff. But it just
Like,
seems like it's an undershirt that isn't in the right spot.
I don't think I can zoom in here. Oh, no, wrong one. I don't think I
Shocked.
can zoom in.
No.
But it's definitely weird, but it wouldn't be the first time that Jonathan has made questionable fashion choices. He did decide to go to the prom with a suit, no shirt underneath.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Yeah, he's,
we couldn't do
he's
that in
changing it
Catholic
up a little
school. That didn't fly at our prom. That's
Are you
not.
sure?
We had to listen to Christian rock at our prom, so we did not. We really didn't get no shirt under the suit jacket. But
Was it like what do they call it? Like when you can't touch each other when you're like dancing or like
making
just
room for the
hover?
Holy Spirit? We had to make room. Yes, I said that to
Actually?
somebody recently. They never heard it. Yeah, making room for the Holy Spirit. Yeah, you can't grind. Charles would have been fine. Charles isn't grinding, but you would have. You can't grind in the Catholic school.
I was grinding when I was like 13 years old. I think I went to public school and it was like the middle school gym. We had our Valentine's Day dance and I wouldn't grind with boys, but it was like all the girls would line up together and like, stand behind each other and like dance to like Flo Rida.
I was going to say, what is the song that like when you picture that night, what is the song that you think of? Because you and I mean, I'm 27, so we were at the same dance.
I mean, did you do Soulja Boy?
Sure.
That was a classic.
Sure.
You don't need room for the Holy Spirit for that. There's plenty of room. You just dance it by yourself. But I remember we do that. We do the stinky leg.
Sure. I didn't participate. I abstained from the stinky leg, but I'm thrilled that you didn't.
The Dougie. Yes. Teach me how to Dougie.
We Dougie hard. Dougieing is getting close to like my go-to song for this point in my life is like a G6. Like I'm dancing to like a G6 at this dance. And like a G6 is coming on right before the Dougie. I have a very good friend who was really good at the Dougie, and we all used to gather around him and watch him do the Dougie. Shout out to Val, who will never ever even kind of hear this. But he did the Dougie. He Dougie'd hard. Can you Dougie?
I cannot. I'm just thinking about it. I don't even want. I don't know how it goes, but it's like
better than I would do.
Corey's thing, because there's just a small age gap between us. I think his did was like the nene, the whip.
Oh,
so watch me whip.
Yeah, he was in high school for that.
I think he was in middle school, high school, middle school. But that was that's his song of his era. So it's funny when I'm like, oh my God, this song reminds me of my time in high school. He's like, I was in elementary. I'm like, let's not talk about it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
that's fine. Well, let's move on.
Obsessed with that. I've never whipped and I've never nay-nayed. I've really never nay-nayed. I've been closer to whipping than I have.
Please,
yeah.
Just how to whip.
I mean, I can like kind of.
Hey.
I'm like Joey. Look at those hips. That's for next time.
Get him on Dancing with the Stars. This is your guy.
I was really hoping that my big break would have happened and I could have pivoted to Dancing with the Stars. There's been an Amazing Race contestant on Dancing with the Stars, but never Survivor. Hasn't happened yet.
It could be you. Who would your partner be?
Oh, and this is a great question. They're giving Daniela, who is a really, really good pro. They're giving her to the pros that they think they're giving her to the stars they think are going to do well. So I'm not going to get Daniela. I'm going to get like a, I mean, and I don't say this in a bad way. I'm going to get Emma. I'm going to get Emma, who just had Reggie, you know, and I'm going to have Emma and I are going to have so much fun together. We're going to make magic together. And we would have a good time. Daniela wants to win, and so does Emma. Emma wants to win, but Emma, I think, is more receptive to a fun, you know, you're either vibes or plot. And I'm getting vibes. I'm getting the vibes. I'm bringing the vibes, rather.
I think you do better than Dwight Howard. You know, that's not
Dwight isn't dancing. He's just throwing Daniela in the air. He's not dancing. It's not a dance.
And you know, she's like a rag doll every single performance. He's just like tossing her up and picking her up and swinging her around. But from what I've seen, it's just like his facials that are like carrying him through, because he's got like, you know, the facial expressions every single time. But
a great face. And he's really like the throwing and the lifting and those, like they are impressive. But if you watch that on a split screen like you're watching now, potentially with Joey, who's like dancing, like that's like, and Chandler, who's like dancing, you know, it's different. It's just like a different thing. And I mean, again, this is for a different podcast, but the judges are out of control. Judges are throwing crazy stuff. Insane. But that's, again, for a different podcast.
Yeah, that's for a later time.
Who from this franchise is doing the best on Dancing with the Stars, do you think? Who from like that we just watched?
I think Gary.
Gary.
Last year, Tina Turner's godson. I think he would, do the best. He's a good dancer from what I've seen.
Yeah, I saw the little clip of the Chippendales. I was very in on Gary. I was hundo P in on Gary.
For sure. I'm surprised we didn't get more Jordan. He's next to Gary on the like right of our screen.
Sure.
He was the one that was last eliminated. He was final 4. He got a hometown.
Oh, and no backstory for Jordan. I mean, no hot seat.
No nothing. Huh. Yeah, that's weird. So maybe he will be the next Golden Bachelor, perhaps. But yeah, that's
pick for that guy. Give me Jonathan. Jonathan has to break up with this woman, because he's the prime suspect. Pascal's shorter than
short.
Not that height is not like, I don't care. But
well, look, I'm thinking maybe Mark and Jonathan are really tall. They got to be like over 6 feet.
Yeah,
but you know, I don't mind short men. You know that. We know that.
Well documented. We've been new.
Yeah, we've been new, LOL. But I think they just might be really tall. But
what do we think the height is on Charles? What do we think? We give him 5'6" to Charles? 5'7"?
Also, why does it look like Christopher back there has been like shrunk? Did you see Christopher? He's behind Pascal on the right side.
Is he kneeling? I'm so confused. Why is he that small?
No, like his head, y'all, like looks so much smaller than anybody else's. It looks very.
He looks strange. Like he went through the Mike TV thing from Willy Wonka. He looks like he got shrunk. He's just standing, you know, on a bunch of those boxes. What do they call them? Milk crates.
Yeah, well, whatever they're standing on. Charles L's got to be like 5'8".
Okay, all right. Listen.
You think so?
I think
Mark's probably 6 something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But they're all cuties. Can't wait to see how next week turns out. Joan came out. She was like, yeah, there's going to be tears. Some of them will be good. So some of them will be bad. Can't wait to watch. Final thoughts on the Bachelor men, the Mansion men, Joan.
I had so much fun. This is like, for me, as somebody who like loves reality TV, I watched the Nick Viall. I watched Colton. I watched Listen to Your Heart. I've never been consumed. What's that?
I wiped that from my memory. The Listen to Your Heart. You mentioned it earlier, and I was like, I could not tell you a single thing that happened that season. Yeah. At all.
It was very hard to contrast that between thousands of people dying a day from peak COVID. That was our solace. That's what we had to watch, you know. But that's, I don't know why I watched that, but I love singing competition shows. Like I was a big American Idol guy back in the day. So I'm like, maybe this will be fun. It wasn't, they never did it again. But I do think that COVID definitely hurt it. Like, I'm sure if it were on maybe during the summer or a different time, then maybe it would have done better. But I had so much fun. This was a lot of fun. I guess I don't care or know about the 2 men that are still left. I don't care who wins. But I'm going to watch it. I want to know now for sure.
I will tell you, I don't care. Like, I'm just like, either guy, I don't think she really likes them. So yeah, we'll see.
It won't be a long tenure for either of them. They really do look the same. Is it me that they look the exact same?
No, they're very, very similar.
And it's
Guy and
interesting
Chalk,
because
everybody.
so many of the men have so much personality. Like we just saw so many, he's a fucking
Well, you said
boy.
she's got a type because
She's
they're
got
both.
a
All I can say
type.
about them is, oh, they're nice. Chalk is very clingy. Guy is also very clingy. Already told her that he's falling for her. He wants to be in a relationship. Like they're all like laying it out there for her. It's really going to be up to her. And yeah, it should be a good one. We'll see. She said before going into the season that she does not want to get engaged. She just wants a companion. She wants a partner.
Okay.
So
Where is she geographically? Do we know that?
Maryland. And Chalk is from Kansas. Guy is from Nevada. I'm pretty sure both will be willing to move for her. I don't think that's an issue, but yeah, we will see.
I'd do whatever I could do to get out of Kansas. If I lived in Kansas, I'm getting the fuck out of there.
Especially if you saw that hometown. It was just like tumbleweeds.
Yeah, my God. Where do you bring them? Like Wendy's? Where do you go in Kansas? What's fun to do in Kansas?
They went to a ranch. Anyways, I don't want to be anywhere near Kansas. It's torture enough that I'm in Tennessee, y'all. But Brendan, you're in New York. What are the vibes? What's going on with you?
Vibes are great. I just moved. I'm in my apartment now. I've been in it for I think 4 days. It's lovely. My girlfriend Deb and I we're here. We're thriving together. I got a little setup so I can do things like this. But we're thrilled. Morale today. It's Thursday, November 7th. I think morale's bad. Morale outside is bad. Morale was bad yesterday. Morale was bad the day before. But we press on. We continue to, we do our thing. The morale can't be as bad as it is in Nashville, I'm sure. The morale, I guess, is good in Nashville, depending on how you feel.
Yeah. Depending on what your vibe is. But me and Corey left yesterday to go pick up something from Facebook Marketplace.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, big fan of Facebook Marketplace. I made a new account for the purpose of, Facebook Marketplace. Anyway, I'm like, oh my God, I found this beautiful chip and dip bowl. Babe, it's an hour out. Let's go. We're out in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. Corey said, this is, these are the counties that decide who the president is.
Yeah.
And we go into this neighborhood and big ass American flags everywhere. Everybody's front, like next to their mailbox. They're just like waving. And I'm like, they all got together in the group chat, in the WhatsApp, whatever they have. And they're like, hey, tomorrow, like, these are the vibes. And I'm like, no. Anyway.
How was the chip and dip bowl? It was a good bowl? You got a good bowl?
Amazing. I'm glad she didn't know what she had. Because I was like, this is like in New York, Facebook Marketplace is so expensive.
Yes.
And people know their shit. People know if they have something that's worth like the money. Like this same chip and dip bowl, I would look for it when I was in New York years ago. And it was like over $100. I got it for $20. I was like, are you kidding me? So yeah, and that's how I scammed a Trump supporter. No, but
I want to see it. I need a visual, and the listeners would like. So whenever, I don't know if there's show notes, I don't know. I want to see. People would love to see this bowl. It's a great bowl.
I'll work with. It's a beautiful bowl. So y'all, it's like a pool. It's a big pool, and then inside there's like a little hot tub with 2 people in it. And you can remove the hot tub, and that's like where the dip goes. And then the pool is where the chips go. And it is adorable. I will post it later. I'll post it on the Facebook group that we have or something. But it's literally so gorgeous. I love it so, so much. Yeah.
Who was the guy that was spending too much time in the pool? Who was that on the show?
Jack. He's on there.
Gonna be dipping in there.
He's on the diving board about to jump in.
You got to. He's spending too much time in the pool. That's why he's got to go.
Yeah, exactly. But Brandon, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a lot of fun. And, I had to have a man for the men tell all. It's the only way we could do this.
Yeah.
But where can people find you? What are your
Look
apps?
for me at Brandon Donlon. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter. That's really it. I'm not really anywhere else. But come hang out. Where Survivor's super good. I'm tweeting about that. It's the usual stuff. We'll be tweeting about reindeer games in a couple weeks. And unless that's not happening.
That's not happening unless you know something I don't. I know you got connections.
They didn't call you, but they're not calling me for the cruise. They're not calling me for interviews. Yeah, well, we're hanging out, but I'm so thrilled. I listen to you and Demi. You are so good at this. So I'm so thrilled to be a part of what is your franchise. You're fantastic.
Thank you. I am one of the few Bachelor super fans that we were talking about. And I never thought about being on the show, but this has been a lot of fun. Demi, dream come true to have her on. I was like, oh my God, like this is so crazy. I've been watching you forever. Super cool. Again, you can find me adog956 on like Twitter and like Instagram, TikTok. frail_king_lover. And yeah, make sure to go subscribe at americatellsall.com, y'all, and listen and like wherever, you listen to podcasts. And we also have a Facebook group. It's called America Tells All. So you can go join that. The password this week to join will be the Mansion Men. It only makes sense. So please go join that. I'll be posting my chip bowl later. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week for the finale. Bye.
See ya.